If you're running Google Ads for your e-com store, this video is going to be about the exact bidding model we use to get the most success for our clients' account after spending, a little bit over 1 million a month on ads for e-com clients. And going into this video, this is going to go over one of the SOPs we have. That's actually part of our course. So if you like this content and more of these, more than welcome to reach out and see what we have to offer on the course side. But for this video, we're going to be talking about e-com bidding models, the one that we use the most. There's a couple different options, of course. People have different ideologies on them. We do what we find works best, so we always base it off of the data and what brings in the most money for our clients. But that being said, let's jump right in. So the whole premise of this is really talking about what bidding models make sense in the e-com space, what we use the most. There are different ones we'll use situationally, which we'll talk about, like TCPA or maximizing conversion value. But in most cases, we always start with one that's going to drive the most success on the front end. So going into this doc, overview of the bidding models, there's a couple different options when it comes to bidding. Really, there's a couple only like right options. We're usually almost always starting with something that's tailored towards conversion value. Some people play around with like the maximize conversion game. Doesn't really make sense to us because at the end of the day, when it comes to what you're trying to tell Google you want most of, you don't want more necessarily conversions, you want more conversion value. So you want it to go after people who are spending more and having a higher average order value. If you go after conversions in general, it's just going after people who will take action. And in most cases, you want, of course, more revenue coming in. So a lot of the times, as long as you have the actual conversion data set up properly and it's feeding true conversion value back into your ad account, that's going to be the most important thing for this to operate properly. And of course, for your campaigns to have the most success. So like I said, in most cases, we're always catering towards the actual conversion value, unless we're doing lead gen for a client, which will play around on the maximize conversion side. So the main bidding model that we use for our clients in launching almost any campaign is going to be maximize conversion value. The other campaign and bidding types, they sound ideal to start with, like for example, a TCPA strategy, which is going to be target cost per acquisition. And what that is it's telling Google the amount you want to pay at most for someone to make a purchase in your store. The problem with that is the lower that is, the more of a noose it kind of puts on Google's reach. And it's very, very hard to get data coming through when you give it that type of requirement if you don't know what you're likely to convert at yet. So there are cases where we use something like a TCPA, which we talk about later in the stock, but it's on the occasion that we're really, really trying to optimize down on a cost per acquisition. And we already have a ton of data on what people are actually buying at. That way we know which area to put it at, and then we can play around with it because once again, if you put it too low, you're not going to get the campaign to spend. It's going to be way too tight. If you put it too high, it's just going to cause the campaign to go haywire. It's going to go after all different types of traffic. You really only know where that sweet in between is if you have the data to base it off of, which you'll only get by using maximize conversion value. So we always start with maximize conversion value. In most cases, we'll even have like late game campaigns that are scaling still on that because they scale so well based off of it. The actual algorithm, this gives the algorithm the most control compared to like a TCPA. So algorithm control could be hit or miss here and there on the campaign side, but when it comes to the bidding model side, it's usually very strong. That way we give it a little bit more leniency. So can't stress it enough. If you're going to launch a campaign, make sure to use maximize conversion value over something like maximize conversions. You want to tailor your campaigns towards what's going to bring in the most revenue, not the most amount of actions. And then as you get more and more data, you can decide whether or not you're going to leave it on maximize conversion value, or if you want to try something like a targeted cost per acquisition or one of the other bidding models based off of that logic. So there are a couple other options, like I mentioned. You can play around with max clicks, manual CPC, all these different more manual bidding styles, but it's very, very, very rare that we'll use those, especially on the e-com side of things. In most cases, it's always maximize conversion value. So that pretty much wraps up this video. That's the short answer. The long answer is there is a deeper understanding of these different bidding models, whether it's TCPA, manual CPC, max CPC. We might use something like manual CPC if we're trying to maximize the amount of traffic we're getting for something that we know is going to convert. That could be something like branded traffic. But if we don't know how well or how consistently the traffic convert, or the pool of traffic is so large that the traffic doesn't all convert at the same rate, that's where we're going to really let the algorithm do a little bit of work. They have so much data behind people that they know who's going to take action, who has big shopping carts when they're making purchases on stores, all these different data points that we'll never know unless we farm it out. Google already has that ready to go, and you want to leverage that. So if you'd like the PDF version of this SOP, feel free to send us a DM on Instagram. It's in the description of the video. Otherwise, if you have any questions, always feel free to drop them in the comment section below. I'll answer it personally. Hope you enjoyed this video. Looking forward to the next.